All right. Thank you all. So good to be here. So good to catch the last couple hours of this meeting, the most recent session on energy conservation, how energy gets lost, how do we figure it out? Honestly, I'm just doing a part 2 of that very thing, only it's going to be about you and your energy. And I'm excited that we can unpack that and share some of that. Real quick, I know we're kind of hitting that mid-afternoon, the lunch lulls happen, peeking towards the dinner moment. I would love to just get a little flavor of the room. What one word to describe how the meeting has been so far for you? One word.
Fun.
Fun. We're having fun. That's great. What else? Informative. Some learning. Some things that are helpful. Yeah? Head nods to that. Yeah. Many other words. All right. Well, I'm excited to move forward from this fun, informative, I sense a good energy, and draw us again into a place where you get to reflect a little bit on yourself and what it is to bring your best energy into the work you do. And I'll say this. I used to be in the Army. I was an Army chaplain for a little while. In the Army, they teach us that everybody has influence, which means everybody's a leader. Does not matter about rank, title. No. Everybody has a sphere of influence. Might be a big one, might be a small one, might be a big one over here and a small one over here. Sphere of influence. And therefore, everyone's a leader. And so, yes, I will talk a lot about leadership, and some people are like, yeah, I'm not a leader. You have a sphere of influence. And so we're going to talk about what that means to show up in that sphere with your very best energy, your very best gifts, your very best strengths, what it looks like to do your best work in your cooperatives, for your members, for your community. Little roadmap. Where are we going in the time we have together? We're going to start in a moment with a story about forgetting. That'll frame our whole journey together. And then we're going to walk through 3 leadership vows, 3 leadership promises, and I'll show and explain why in a moment. Leadership vow 1 has to do with your unique gifts, and one in particular. Leadership vow 2 will explore your perspective, how that shapes so much of who you are, how you show up in the work you do. Leadership vow 3 has to do with your people around you. All of that comes together to fuel your growth, your individual growth, your cooperative's growth, your community's growth, with great self-leadership. We're going to start and come back to you today. Ready for the story? All right. Years ago, I was set to officiate a wedding out on a big wood dock in the middle of Lake Lanier, Georgia, about an hour outside of Atlanta. We used to live in Atlanta. So I'm doing a wedding. It's a gorgeous setting, a beautiful lake, trees all around it, and a wood dock in the middle of the lake. And the only way there was by way of this long walking bridge. A wood bridge was not this one, but this picture gives the idea. Narrow wood bridge, and you got to cross the long wood bridge to get to this platform in the middle of the lake. And I am officiating the wedding. I'm a veteran of weddings at that point. I've done a number of them. But if you've ever been in charge of anything, whether it's a wedding or a big event or a small event, or you're hosting something at your house, and you're sort of one of the point people with that, you know you're paying attention to all the logistics. You're making sure all the pieces are going. The timing of the groomsmen and the groom, and then the bridesmaid back there, and the bride, and the ring, and the flowers, and it's all the pieces. The music is cueing. The service is unfolding as it needs to, and all. And I'm on top of it. Like, we're going all the pieces. I got this. We're going. Yeah. I finish up the wedding homily, and I say, now, Kate and Ted are going to share unique vows that they have written for this most sacred occasion. I take a couple steps back to give them their space to share. They had written unique vows, wedding vows for one another. Let them have that spotlight. And as I step back, the bride starts staring at me. Oh. And then it hits me. Earlier that morning, we had done a wedding rehearsal, gone through all the things. Oops. And during that rehearsal, the bride had given me the copy of her wedding vows. Not like her dress had pockets. So that at that very moment in the wedding, I could pull the wedding vows out and hand them to her, and I don't have her vows. Her vows are in my car parked across that long wood bridge. Have you ever just wanted to disappear? Yeah, or just take another step back. Actually, we're going to come back to that very point a little later. I mean, I went into a mental freefall, like blank. I had no words to respond. Nothing was coming out of my mouth. I'm standing in front of the wedding. Now, I have to tell you, this was kind of a sports-minded wedding crowd. This guy in the very back row of the wedding raises his hand. He's kind of watching what's going on down. He goes, so, are we taking a time out? And I said, yes. I was so grateful. Somebody gave me language to get out of this moment. 2-minute timeout. I will be right back. I'm going to get the vows. And under that hot Georgia sun, with my sport coat, my slacks, my dress shoes, I start running across that bridge. Yeah, I felt about that small too, by the way. Dead serious. Oh. And of course, what is everybody watching the entire time? I call this my bridge of vulnerability. My forgetfulness, my failure, my now just trying to get it right, all very much on display for everybody to watch. And I'm running, they're watching, I make it to the car, and I recover the unique wedding vows. And I run back and get in front of the bride and the groom, and there's a little bit more to this story. We're going to come back to that later. Hold me to it. But in that moment, the bride and the groom do in fact get married with their unique vows. Simon Sinek considers leadership a unique vow. Leadership, he says, it's not about who's in charge. It's about caring for those in your charge. That's a promise. That's a commitment. That's a vow. If I'm going to lead, if I'm going to have a sphere of influence, of any influence, I'm going to show up and I'm going to care for those entrusted to me, very much ourselves included. For today's purposes, we're going to talk about what it looks like to honor that vow when it comes to self-leadership, the care of this person and this energy on behalf of all the others and the work. And in recent days, I confess, I have wondered, recent years really at this point, is it possible that some of us, from time to time, and it's never meant it to happen, but from time to time, we have shown up to the main event, out there on the dock, doing our work, doing our life, holding all the pieces together, making sure all the timing's right, making sure all the pieces are coming and going in just the way they're supposed to be going. Is it possible from time to time that we've ever shown up to the main event and we forgot the vow? Especially as it relates to ourselves. And the reason I say this, and it may or may not land 100% for you, but I'll just share some of the macro data out there right now, and especially because it's only a month old. Some of you are familiar with Gallup and how they put out a state of the workforce survey every single year. They've been doing it for 25 years, and they look at all aspects of how the workforce around the globe and then in each region is doing. And all kinds of stuff. It's a great report to read. But let me just give you some of the high-level pieces that make me wonder about, is it possible the vow gets lost sometimes? They asked this question about stress. They asked, did you experience stress a lot of the day yesterday to employees all around the world? And they broke the world down into like 14 different sectors of the world. And then they gave data points about how each sector of the world, their employees responded to that question. The U.S. and Canada is one sector of the world. We said 50% of us said yes. That ranks us number one out of every other region in the world. for self-reporting the experience of stress. It's the highest. There were some in the 40s, some in the 30s, some in the 20s, only us at 50%. Okay. They also, couple just workforce trends on the burnout front. 27% of U.S. specific employees report feeling burned out, exhausted, very often or always. So kind of right around 1 in 4 right there. And then they always ask this question about, are you thriving in life? Kind of a general well-being. In the U.S., specific employees said 46% this last year. 2025, it was 50%. What's notable about the 46% number is that in the 25 plus years they've been doing this survey, this is the lowest it's ever come in. Now, lots of possibilities, lots of factors, but okay, what? Gosh, something's in the wire. That's a challenge. And then U.S. employee engagement will be the last little macro piece we'll look at. They said, okay, about 31% are engaged, employees engaged right now. That's what their study is showing. That's the motivated, productive. Let's do this. Let's make it happen. Let's get this better. That energy. Saw a lot of that energy actually just the last couple hours I've been here in this room. 58% disengaged. This is sort of that quiet quitting vibe. Like, I'm motivated enough not to lose my job, but I'm not really here in much more of a active sense than that. And then 17% are actively disengaged. They create the toxic culture, actively throwing in wrenches with the frustration or the gossip or all the different pieces. And now I know we're sitting here, we're digesting this, going, okay, yeah, that's big data. Lots of factors that are probably playing in there, and we don't have time to unpack them all. I do a whole nother presentation. I talk about the factor of speed, actually. Speed and anxiety when they mix and how that plays in this. But the factor I'm wondering about today in this particular presentation is it possible some of this is a sign that we've shown up to the main event, work, life, and we've forgotten the vow. To care. And not just care about all the people and things around us, but actually at a central way to care for ourselves, this central space of energy that determines everything else about what ripples forward from us. Is it possible from time to time we've forgotten to come home to this, guard this, protect this, conserve this, grow this in an intentional way? And so for the remainder of our time, my invitation is, what if? What if we as leaders, what if we as people who have a sphere of influence in our cooperative, in our community, in our family, what if we say, I know there are about 36 things I'm juggling right now. As soon as I walk out of this door, the juggling's going to get real again. But what if, just for a few moments, we said, okay, I'm going to actually risk letting those go. And I'm going to run across this bridge of vulnerability that feels very exposed because it's weird not to be doing all the things right now and all the things need me. I'm going to risk running across this because I have a sense that if I can recover the vow to care and bring that heartbeat into whatever else I'm doing, that might transform the whole game. If I go recover the vow. So we're going to cross the bridge. We're going to go get the leadership vow to care. And y'all know, wedding vows, it's not, the vows read kind of in like, better or worse, sickness, health, richer or poor, right? It's kind of a litany of vows. The leadership vow also has 3 parts to it. Self-leadership vows. I will. In our time together, we're going to unpack what those self-leadership vows are and consider what it means to honor those as central to who we are and how we show up. And we're going to start with this first one about who we are at our highest and best. This relates to the first leadership vow we're going to uncover together. This is a joy skill matrix. Now I want you to take this in and we'll have a discussion around this, but this is one tool that helps us remember who we are at our best, where our energy really comes alive. At at the bottom quadrant, you've got low skill, low joy. Something you're not terribly good at, something you don't find terribly fulfilling. Let me ask this. Does anyone here enjoy, genuinely, putting together, working with Excel spreadsheets? You enjoy it? Yeah. I honestly, I am grateful for those hands. That's why we need each other. Excel spreadsheets go in this quadrant for me. This is I'm not good at them. Even when they all come together beautifully, it's not a big fill. But for some people it is, and I'm glad, because we learn we need each other. This is the quadrant where I say, look, if you're spending too much time down here, if you can list too many items in your work and life that are here, this is the delegate. Somehow some of this is going to have to be delegated. This is a classic burnout quadrant. There are subtle ways burnout happens. This is a classic way it happens. And that is just too many things you're not really good at, are not terribly satisfying or fulfilling even when you do them. And it actually exponential drain if a lot of time is spent in that quadrant. The next one I call adulting. This is, you know what, you're pretty good at it. You might be better than most folks in the room, quite frankly. You don't love it, but somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to do, the taxes, the chores, the thing, the phone call, somebody, right? This is where most adults spend a lot of the time. And there is a sentiment. I think the line here is somebody's got to do it, and probably better me than anyone else. Because there's a sense I'm just going to do it better. I got it. And that's real. That's fine. That's good. I mean, that's life. It is possible, though, without being aware, and that's why we're here today, to kind of get stuck in this side of the quadrant, because there's always needs, always things that are pulling us here. Day after day becomes month after month, becomes year after year, and we haven't even considered given life to, breath to, eyes to, the other side. This is a lot of joy, satisfaction, kind of fun, fulfillment, energy. Not good at it. I took piano lessons a few years ago. First time since I was a kid. I only took him like a year as a kid. Not good. Took him as an adult, I don't know, maybe 3 years. And you do not want to hear me play the piano. Like even now, today. Genuinely, like it'd be not fun for any of us. Except the lessons in themselves were fun for me. Not good at the piano. Kind of fun. The stretch was something creative, and it was weird that way. I'm not good. Kind of fun. Or I used to, for a long time, I was a pastor. And I worked with a staff of folks in a church in the Austin, Texas area. And none of us had ever done a podcast. Have any of you ever hosted a podcast? Have you ever done it? Pulled the thing off? Yeah? Okay. I had not. And I thought, you flip a switch and you start talking. No. Oh, podcasts are an art form, and people that do them well have worked hard at that. From the technology to the questions they ask to the flow of the conversation. Woo! We were terrible at our podcast. We thought we're going to be a church with a podcast that's going to help us connect in the community and be more helpful with folks and meet folks, and it was fun. Truly, it was fun. It was a bad podcast. I would not want you to dig that up on Apple episodes or whatever and just be like, let's listen in. You'd be like, ooh, a little dry, a little staticky. But it was fun. It really was. And the whole team had a sense about it like, hey, let's just try it and learn and see and actually our team on staff became a lot closer for it. This is a great space for teams. If you're on a team, if you lead a team, and you offer ways that, hey, what if we just try? What if we just try? You can't fail. We'll only learn. Oh, what a gift to teams, no matter where you go. And we found that. We found that to be a team energizing quadrant with the podcast, some other things, and learned some good things that had unintended good ripple effects. But then, and here's where we're really going for today, there's that sacred quadrant up in the corner. You're pretty good at something. Actually, you're very good at something. You've got a real skills. And one sign you're good at something, like really good, you've been doing it a while. You are good at it, and you're good enough to know how much more there is to go. The masters are the ones who realize, my gosh, there is so much yet more to learn about this field, this thing. Because they've gone far enough to realize that. And it's not burdensome. It's not like a duty. Oh, I'm good at it, and I just have to show up. It actually, when you do the work, It's a fill. There's something satisfying. There's something, it's probably hard. Some of your hardest work is done in that quadrant because your best work wants the challenge. Oh, but it's so satisfying when you bring that skill to life, when you share that piece of your energy, your gifts, your strength. It's the place of your focus. Or, and we're going to get into this, your unique ability. That term is going to be important. And this, as we'll see, is the space of exponential growth for human beings. It's not just kind of, these are all equal. This is a space of exponential depletion. If you sit here too long, this, to honor that well, is actually a space of exponential growth. Have any of you ever heard of this book, 10x is easier than 2x? Okay, it's maybe 3 or 4 years old. And their thesis is that a lot of people, when we're trying to grow, we kind of try to do everything a little bit better. They said that the individuals and organizations who grow exponentially, maybe in revenue, maybe in other goals, but the ones who grow exponentially in where they're trying to go, they don't try to do everything a little bit better. They figure out what they're exceptionally good at, uniquely so, and they devote the best hours of their day to honoring and nourishing that, which means some hard no's, but some clear yeses. In fact, the way they put it is this. Your unique ability is the driver of your 10x future. It's where you are most confident, energized, and valuable. The 10x people are the ones who have figured out what their unique ability is and said, you know what, this is my high skill, high joy. This is the thing that when I lean into it, I feel a unique sense of confidence, energy, and value happening. And that becomes the engine because it's a powerful place, energy that only you have. And so what I want to ask you is to just, for a couple minutes here, is to find a partner, someone right next to you, pairs. And here's the question. What is your unique ability? And now you're just being introduced to the concept very generally right now. And so you may be thinking, your answer is, I'm not sure what it is, but I'm thinking maybe this. I'm not sure what it is, and I'm here my question. Just be honest. Or you could say, here's what I think it might be, and you could tell a quick story. Here's kind of how it plays out. But I'd love for you to share with one other person what you think your unique ability might be, given what you've seen so far, given what you're digesting with that graph and this input. And then I'll let you know the implication of that in a moment. Does that make sense? Okay, head nods. Find your partner, give you a few seconds, and I'll keep time because I'll give you about 60 seconds a person. All right. Some folks, I think that timing worked. I know sometimes it can be a little short, but even so, and I don't need to know what all the answers were. I want to know this. What was, maybe 2 questions. One, what was the experience of sharing your best guess, foot forward as far as what your unique ability is? And I'm not looking for the right answer. I'm just kidding. What was the experience of sharing?
Uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable, yeah. Hard, yeah. Saying that aloud. Uncomfortable, hard. Anything else?
We kind of were excited.
Okay, exciting.
We were kind of excited.
Okay, yeah, okay. It's all the, yeah.
It almost felt like bragging.
Oh, it felt like bragging. Is that good or bad, or?
Well, I don't know, because I don't like pat myself.
Pat on the back, yeah. Okay, so that felt strange to... Yes, yeah. Strange is a good word? Okay, yeah. I do find there's something, one word that comes to mind for me is to relate to that bridge of vulnerability. It feels vulnerable to put that out there because it is something sacred, actually, about yourself. That is there, and somehow that's you don't want that stepped on. You're not sure about it. This is a different kind of conversation. There can be something exciting about that. There can be something strange. All those, honest, yeah. Now let's switch it for a second. What was the experience of hearing another's unique ability?
Fun.
Okay, fun. There's a word. Yeah. Interesting. What else? Another one? Fun. Oh, said the same thing. Interesting times 2.
It's good. It's good to hear a good quality, and hear someone
okay.
acknowledge their, what they're good at.
Good. Fun, interesting, good.
Comforting?
Comforting.
Yeah, just
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
you're sharing.
So they're being vulnerable, they're feeling maybe strange, they're feeling it's difficult, maybe they're feeling exciting. So far on the receiving end, there's a lot of, that was fun, that was good, that was comforting, that was interesting, there's something about receiving this energy that can lift another person. Because of course it's the energy of your unique ability. It's a little glimpse of this energy that is unique to you. And another experiences it, it's kind of like, it's nice. It's nice to experience something so sacred. And I'm receiving it. And do you notice how that doesn't feel like hustle energy? You know hustle energy? Let's do it. Faster is better. Keep going. And there's a season for hustle and covering down all things. But notice, this isn't energy. And you all are experts in energy. But you notice how this is coming from a different spot than hustle energy. This seems to be more grounded in something deeper, maybe like here. Something more that absolutely moves mountains and gets things done, 100%, when this comes through a life. But it's not hustle energy. Hustle energy drains us ultimately if you just stay on hustle mode all the time. This doesn't drain. This is pulling from something else that is energy, that is renewable energy. Yeah. You all know about that. So we're crossing the bridge. We're recovering that scroll of sacred vows, those 3 vows of great self-leadership. And we unfurl it in the very first vow. I'm a person who will prioritize my unique ability. I have something in this world that when I offer it, the way people respond to it that is good. That is fun. That is interesting. That is exciting. That is comforting. I will be that person who prioritizes that. I know that's where the locus of my exponential growth actually is. And so every vow needs an action. You can say the vows all you want. They only matter if they're lived, right? Right? So every one of our vows, we're going to consider at least one action you can take. This one's a little broader. What if you gave yourself 1 hour a day, 1 hour of your working day, to honor your unique ability? What becomes possible? Now, some of you are thinking, 1 hour, I got way more. What I said and what I do, that's a good challenge. Some of you are saying that's way too little. I'm just inviting 1 hour of the best part of your day for what only you do in that unique way. What becomes possible if that gets honored? Let you sit with that question, what that action might be. But we've unfurled the vow. We've got one. We're coming into the second one now. We're crossing that bridge. And to cross the bridge, I want to ask you this question. Do you remember I'm out there on the dock, and this was not the dock, but you get the idea of the wood in the middle of the lake and that kind of idea. And I want you to put yourself in my shoes. The moment you realize you do not have the wedding vows, what is the experience for you? What would it be? How would you describe if you're me in that moment? Well, yes.
I'd probably throw up.
I would throw up. That's good. That's honest. I would throw up. What else? I'm curious. What generally? Panic. I would cuss. The word I would say will not be said here, but panic. Who was one of you said earlier when something about jumping, just taking a step back? I will tell you, that crossed my mind. In the blankness of it all, there was sort of like a Bobby diving backward. This is not good.
Homer Simpson goes back into the bush.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah. Where is this possible to get all the way to the forest? Swim to, I guess. Yes. Homer Simpson backing into the bush. Panic. Throwing up. Yes. Now, do you remember my story? What the guy in the back row said when he saw what was happening. What did he say? Is this time to take a time out? We're experiencing the same situation. Here is an officiant without the wedding vows. Same situation. One human being is thinking about this as the option. Another sees the same situation and thinks that. Oh yeah, so should we just take a time out? Just do something else? What in the world is it? It is the same situation. No vowels. One wants to run away, throw up, and panic, and the other is like, what if we, time out? A little bit of humor, a little bit of a way forward. That seems a worthy question. Because I bet, vowels aside, you can think of any number of real challenges that you are facing in your workplace, in your cooperative, in your life. And they're sitting right here in front of you. And it's possible to be this person. We have got to get out of here. I'm going to freak out. Let's throw up. And it's possible to be this person. What if? Is there another way? It's a world of difference. Same situation. What's the difference? Wow. Okay, so let's explore that. Anyone know this kind of wild question? The Latin root word for anxiety, it's to choke, narrow, or tighten. Anxiety, panic is a heightened version of anxiety, isn't it? It's like, and we carry it in our body. Think about where you carry your anxiety. Shoulders, chest, and we get the stomach thing, the knots. Yeah. And have you ever seen anyone come up, public speaking can be a great fear for a lot of people, a lot of anxiety. And they come up here, maybe it's been you, maybe you've seen it happen, and they start talking, and their voice is different than how you know them normally. That's no joke. Anxiety is an embodied experience. It chokes the air. It takes the air out. And so we're in that place of fight, flight, or freeze. In my case, at that wedding, it was a mix of freeze, like I had no words. And I was thinking about flight into the water, right? That's the experience of anxiety, is fight, flight, or freeze, because the breath is literally getting strangled within. But the root word for breath, the Latin root word for breath, when the breath returns, when the breath is full, close. I heard inspiration, very close. Spirit or soul. In other words, something sacred and unique and true to who you are comes alive when there is breath. Anxiety chokes. Fight, flight, or freeze. Breath opens. Anxiety, I'm diving off this thing. Breath. What if we took a time out? Little joke. Laughter's breath, by the way. Now, you could argue, that guy wasn't in charge of the wedding. Fair. But the truth is, the art of great leadership in this day and age is being in the midst of all the crazy, all the challenges, all the chaos, all the issues, and somehow being someone who can breathe. In fact, so that's Peter Stanke, leadership expert for a long time before his death a few years ago, and especially in the nonprofit sector. He wrote this book, Uproar, Calm Leadership in Anxious Time. Uproar, his word for what it's like when societies experience acute levels of chronic anxiety. Published in 2019, so we've been dealing with this anxiety thing for a little bit, right? And he wrote this. Anxiety, because of its infectious nature, a leader's apprehensiveness contaminates a whole system. Anxiety is like the flu. A leader, a person of influence, anxiety, it spreads. Other people catch it. Therefore, in times of uproar, the leader cannot be anxious as everyone else. It's as if the leader's calm, reflective demeanor becomes an antibiotic, warding off the toxicity of reactive behavior. The way to change the atmosphere of the family, the neighborhood, the cooperative, the workplace comes back to the leaders who can breathe. The leaders who see that the vowels aren't there and they see possibility because they can breathe. And so we're going to practice a quick kind of a breathing exercise. It's called the WIN exercise. Groups of three. I'll tell you how this can land in just even weekly regular meetings that you have. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this in 3. So you're in 2. So now you got to kind of recruit a person. A person's going to have to break off. I'll give you a little time to figure this out. A couple of you already started in trios. Well done. I want you to share with your group of 3, your best buds, one win from this last week. Could be a personal win. Could be a professional win. Something that went well. Hey, here's a win. Could have been a super small one. Every day for the last year, this has never worked. And then it worked. It worked this year. It worked last week. I couldn't believe it. It could be a massive win. Oh my gosh, my daughter got married. That was a week and a half ago, though. So, just one win. There's no wrong answer. Personal, professional, small, big. Share the win and tell the story just a little bit. You've got 60 seconds. Say the story. Just say, well, all right, here's the win. Okay, and then the other 2 people, you have a rule, who are listening to the win. You get one sentence. What I appreciate about your win is. That felt very inspiring to hear. Thank you. I'm serious. One sentence. Sometimes people do good jobs with the run-ons and. I get that. That's why there's 30 seconds so that the responses, but just one sentence. Quick response, both of you. And then we're going to rotate. Here's the deal. I am giving 5 minutes for this because there's a reason this relates very much to breath. It's important, it's good, and some other things about your team dynamics. I will let you all know how the timing's going as we go along. But just know, each person, minute, 30 seconds response, switch! Now a new person gets to be a win, and the other 2 get to listen. Switch. Make sense? I'll help cue some timing pieces so you don't, one person's not just going forever. But you can, within your cell group, kind of keep the thing moving. 5 minutes. All right, let me give you a few seconds to find your 3, because I know some trios and some duos got to break up from what they were last time. 3 is a great number for this, I'm telling you, but it requires movement. I know. Little movement. All right, with 3. Oh man, we have all, this is beautiful. Okay, first person, begin with a win. All right, let's bring it back together. Well done, finding your trios and diving in with the exercise and sharing the win. Same kind of 2 questions. I'm curious. Again, there really is not a wrong answer, but I am curious. What was the experience of sharing your win? Word, phrase, just, again, no wrong answer. What was the experience?
Enjoyable.
Enjoyable. Naming the win was enjoyable. Okay. What else?
It's a little easier.
A little easier. Yeah. The unique ability is harder. I would agree. Yeah. Enjoyable, easier. What else did you notice you felt as you share that?
Excited.
Okay, excited again. Yeah. There's some of that. What's that?
Satisfying.
Oh, satisfying. Okay. Yeah. Proud. Okay, thank you.
Encouraging.
Encouraging.
Because you're hearing their wins as well, so it's encouraging to keep motivating yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Encouraging to motivate yourself as you. And so now you're taking me to that second question a little bit. What was it like? No rights. I'm not fishing for anything. I'm genuine. What was it like to hear other people's win? One word is encouraging. It was encouraging to hear. What was it like to hear another's win?
Relatable.
Relatable. Okay. A sense of connection was built in hearing another person's win.
Perspective changing.
Oh, perspective
What
change.
somebody considers a win.
Yeah.
And being able to see, that is an accomplishment.
You might not have thought about that, moments ago like that, but you're like, oh yeah. Cool. Yeah. I used to, and this can be, I'll tell you why we're doing this in this breathing section in a moment. Again, I told you I was a pastor, and there was a season of time where we would begin all of our staff meetings, weekly staff meetings, about 10 of us, and they were hour-long staff meetings, with win reports. We just went around one at a time. Win from last week. And we got pretty good at, being somewhat quick about it. We got other things to do, right? But we went around the circle. What's one win? What's one win? What's one win? Yeah, sometimes 7 or 8 minutes, sometimes 10 or 15 minutes. And now you think about staff meeting, you think of all the things you need to do in your cooperative, all the things you got going. You're like, ooh, I don't want to lose our to-do list because this is our staff time, and now we're down to 45 minutes, and there's a lot to cover. I tell you what, I found that when the staff and I had time at the front end to do this, the irony was the last 45 minutes was more productive than if we'd started with the first bullet point. Okay, we got to do this, we got to do this, you got this, I got this, you got this. When we would start with this, we would enter the agenda from a very different space. Our brains could breathe. Individually and collectively. Honestly, we were more thorough and efficient with a 45-minute, the rest of the agenda, because 15, often less, was spent doing a little breathing. Wins are a great breathing exercise. Why? Because it's storytelling. And humans love storytelling. Even people who think they can't tell a story, don't know what storytelling is, not really their thing, just give me the data. As soon as you share a win that you can't, it's innate to who we are as humans, help but start telling a story. It could be a short story, that's fine, but it's a story. And the brain lights up for stories, both for the teller and the receiver. Storytelling is one way we find breath. Yeah. What's happening, just a little bit of the quick science, when we're anxious, it's the amygdala, it's going in hyperdrive, going nuts, fight, flight, or freeze. And as we find breath, storytelling is one way to find breath, win report. What happens is the amygdala slows down and the executive functioning, the prefrontal cortex area of the brain, starts to come alive. It's getting the breath, receiving the breath. You're thinking clear, you're thinking better. It's why 45 minutes turns out to be plenty of time for all the agenda items, because now you've got a room full of people who can breathe. And that makes a big difference. I'm curious. Storytelling's one way to get some breath. Win reports are one way for a staff to get some breath together. Celebrate the wins. Oh, by the way, great way to embed the values in your cooperative, because wins can start to name how the values are alive in a real concrete, storyified way. Great way to embed the values of an organization. But that's just one way. I'm curious. What about you? What is something that when you do it, you just feel like yourself again? You can breathe. It gives you breath. And I just popcorn a few things. I am curious. What gives you breath? Maybe storytelling does. But where else do you go when you're like, yeah, that helps. That's a great thing for me. What is it? Hobbies. Any specific ones? All of them. All hobbies count. Awesome. Yes, absolutely. What else? What else is gives you?
I go sit outside, take my shoes off, and get grounded in my garden.
Ooh, shoes off, grounded in the garden. Outdoors, focused. Yeah. Okay. Shoes off.
I can do it in the wintertime sometimes.
In the wintertime, too. Ah, love it. I mean, what else? What else?
We live in the country, so just sitting on our front porch at the end of the day and just kind of watch the world go by for a half hour.
Half hour, front porch, out in the country.
Yeah.
More just taking it in and
There might be a glass of wine.
being present. Glass of wine can be helpful toward the breath. Yeah. No, thank you. What else? Oh, music. Yes. Exercise. Yeah, the body moves and breathes deeper, but also everything starts to open up. Yeah. Laughter. Laughter's big breath. Yeah. Some people it's journaling. Some people it is a social outing with a certain kind of person where you know it's going to be just open and free and all the things. Yeah. Some people it is creative outlets. None of this is rocket science, right? You're like, well, yeah. This is about recovering the vow. Yeah, absolutely. We already know, right? Vows are never about like, oh my gosh, I just learned something totally new. It's more like, oh yeah, I need to remember the thing I forget. It's more like that. So we're running across the bridge and we are recovering the self-leadership vows. And the second one is this: I will breathe deeply. And we just named different ways that all of you breathe. Find breath. Can find breath at any time of day, including trying on a new one, the wind report, right? Every vow needs an action, and you've named some ways that action unfolds already or could unfold more for you or find a new rhythm for you. I'll just offer this one. Next time you have a challenge, and you probably have one right now in front of you, one in your cooperative in your life, something that's just like, that's real, I don't know. One of the best ways to deal with it, one of the best ways, is you think about it. Okay, I've got the challenge. You sit aside, you go breathe deeply, you do your breathing thing, your exercise, your music, your hobby, your thing, your garden, whatever it is, you do your thing. And then you very intentionally come back to the thing that's like, what are we going to do? How are we going to do? I don't know how we're going to do. But in that space, having just come and found the breath again, and only then, by the way, risk this question. That is a very difficult question to ask somebody in a heightened place of anxiety. Hey man, so how is the fact that you totally forgot the vow as a gift right now? I'm freaking out. Right. There's no gift here. There's no gift. But you get some breath, even in front of impossible situations. And then you're at this weird place where you're the kind of leader who can risk the most unlikely question of all. Wow, what if there's a whole nother way to see this? What if a whole nother 3 ways to see this? That is the art of great leadership. I'll say, that is for you guys, if you want, I'll put this QR code up at the end as well. It is an easy 1, 2, 3 reset that's just a document, PDF, that's an easy one to look at and have your next refresh moment when things get crazy, easy to put on your desk, easy to do whatever you want. But if you follow the link, it's just like right there as an easy way to do the breath. It doesn't have to be going out to the garden, go out exercise. It's just like, okay, here's the quick 1, 2, 3 in the midst of whatever the crazy thing is that's starting to unfold. And it's something I use a lot for myself. I use a lot with my coaching clients. And so you're welcome to check that out. If it's helpful, that'll be back up at the very end if you miss it. Now, last vow. We're running across the self-leadership vow. We're going to close out with this one. One last little exercise where we're going to share in pairs. I want you to think about those who have helped you. In particular, I want you to think of one person who, in your professional world, who has made your work better in some way. Someone from years ago. Someone from yesterday. I don't know. And I want you to consider for a moment, maybe multiple names are coming up, maybe just one. We're going to try to land on just one. And I want you to consider just one person is like, yeah, you know what? They have made my professional work. They've made it better. Maybe because of something they did. But I want you to think, what specifically did they do? Just very specific. What did they do and why did that matter to you? I want you to think about that person. And here's what we're going to do. Last little group exercise to discover this last vow. We're going to go back to our pairs. One last pair time. And would you share about that person? Would you share what they did specifically and why it mattered to you? Questions? Okay, last little bit of sharing, and then we'll see where this starts to land into that last vow. Go for it. I got the time. All right. We'll bring it back in one more time. And just see where we are. I forgot to mention, during the WIN report, which is kind of a storytelling exercise, I forgot to mention, so I'm a storyteller, like they wrote a book, Small Stories About Big Things. I love stories. Stories are a wonderful medium. And I meant during that section to try to actually give one of these copies to the first 3 people that said something about their experience of telling a story, and I didn't earlier. So 3 of you are getting a book because you happen to respond during the story portion. Small stories about big things, which are what WIN reports are, by the way. They're small stories about big things. That's why they're so important in embedding the values in an organization. Anyway, that was then. This is now. We've done one last exercise in pairs. And this time just one question, but a similar question. I'd love a little popcorn. The experience of sharing about someone who's helped you. What's a word? What was the experience? What?
Grateful.
Oh, grateful. Okay, hadn't had that one today, but yeah, grateful. What else?
Heartwarming.
Heartwarming. All right. Huh. What else? What's that? Something. Okay. All right. We've been talking about We spend some time, and I heard the energy, I heard the laughter, I saw people lean in and use their hands to describe these people. Something's there, right? Check this out. Check out what the research has to say about this. This is cool. This last vow is very unique in this way. This is Dr. Caroline Wiley of Roosevelt University. She studied 4 massive employee motivation surveys that were done in 1946, 80, 86, and 92. And the surveys were all exploring of organizations of all size, employees, what helps you do your best work in the workplace? What motivates you? And they studied all these generations of people, thousands of people, and things like pay, culture, security, all the things that motivate you to do your best work. Only one response in all those 4 massive surveys was in the top 1 or 2 of respondents. Here's what motivates me. And that response was, recognize me for the work I've done. Appreciate, recognize, see the work. Recognition. Gratitude for the work done. One of the top 2 motivators across all those generations. Now we're saying, okay, that sounds cool, but those are older studies. Anything else out there? Better Up did a massive service, 1.7 employees, just right before COVID, about the drivers of people's best work. What helps you do your best work in the workplace? And they said a lot of things over all these organizations, but one stood out like none others. Recognize me. Name. Celebrate. Now that can look like different things. Some people like that more one-on-one. Some love a big moment in front of people. That's not the issue. The issue is that people are naming it a fundamental way. I'm motivated when I'm seen and known for what I'm doing, when I'm appreciated, when there's a gratitude of some sort. Again, it looks different for how people receive it. We all get that. The trophy matters to some, the trophy doesn't to others. That's not the point. The point is this recognition is fundamental. Hold up, Bobby. I thought you were talking about self-leadership. And I get that's really good for us to know about our people. Feels like a part 2 to your whole talk. Like, let's talk about the other. I thought we were talking about... Fair enough. Okay. Works both ways. Check this out. The people who give gratitude, who do the recognition, recognizing, that's going to make a big ripple effect on the people around me. Check out what it does for you when you give recognition. There is a notable happiness spike. They did this study, University of Penn did, where when you write and deliver a letter of gratitude to somebody, that was the best happiness intervention they could find. And they tried all these different things, and the happiness spike actually lasted an entire month for having done this offering of gratitude. The brain starts to rewire. Gratitude triggers all the good chemicals in your brain. And over time, it actually starts to build new neural pathways where this sense of goodness is just more and more of who you are. There's a ripple effect that when you give gratitude, you experience more trust and generosity within yourself, with another, and that anyone else who happens to observe it also gets it. And then finally, check this out. UCLA, this is a really fun survey to read in more detail, but they took 70 studies, 26,000 plus participants in the studies that was able to link regular gratitude to lower depression, higher life satisfaction, stronger relationships, better sleep. Yeah, we know the impact of recognition and gratitude for the person who receives it. The person who gives it is a great beneficiary. Which raises the question, okay, what makes for good gratitude, good recognition? And you probably just practiced it in your own way when you told about that person. And I invite you to maybe tell a little bit of the story, the specifics about that person. Because there are generally, research has shown 3 ingredients to really effective recognition. The kind that feels good to give actually changes your game, you're in it, and changes their game too. It's sincere. This is why Employee of the Month stuff usually falls flat, because it feels prescribed. Well, somebody had to win it. And by the way, monthly is way too infrequent. Regular, small, sincere. It matters. Specific. Which is to say, not cliche. Hey, great job. You hit that one out of the park. Right? Vague, cliche, specific. and personalized could be the other word right there. But there's a sense of like, you by name did this. And that made a big difference when you showed up Monday morning a little early and got things going so that the meeting could actually happen this way and didn't go this way. And I loved actually how by you, the way you showed up so creatively. I actually honored one of the things we've been trying to be more about in this cooperative with valuing innovation, valuing creative, right? You can double down on the value, but there's a specificity, whether it's a handwritten note, whether it's up front, whether it's walking by with someone in the office. And the last thing, it's timely. What's that mean? Generally, there is a time frame in which the gratitude, the recognition lands most powerfully, both for the giver and the receiver. And generally, the sooner after the thing happens, the better. The sooner after the reason for thanks, the better. And you all know this. We almost know this at an intuitive level. We sometimes, you ever had that thing where you see something happen, someone does something great, someone does something helpful, and you're like, I need to thank them. And how many times does that just sort of float away? Because life and busy and all the things. And then it just feels flat a few days later, like, I probably should have thanked them. But it's gone. When it's up here, I should probably thank them. I am telling you, it's almost like there's something in the universe. When it's up here for you, believe it or not, it's up here for them when they receive it. It's wild. There's an intuition to this. But the closer it is to the event, the better. And so my question to you, before I show you how this vow reads, is this. Is anyone coming to mind right now? I want to thank them. Yeah, I want to recognize them. Maybe someone from years ago that it just feels odd, but it feels timely just to, I told a story about how you helped me in the workplace today, and I don't know where it came from, but I just thought you should know. You made a big difference. Or maybe it's something that happened yesterday and you're like, shoot, I'm still in that time frame. And I want to name it. That's sincere. It's not a should, it's a get to. And I wonder if that name is coming to mind for you, or a couple names. I just invite this. Is it possible? That's not an accident. Is it possible it's timely for both of you? So we're running across the bridge. We're covering the sacred vows of self-leadership that are the heartbeat to how we show up with our best energy. And the last one, I will practice gratitude. For them, because I know that is like the number one employee motivator. Honestly, for me, too. These are the 3 vows of great self-leadership. The vow and action for this last one, I already invited the first part of it. You may already have an answer to what that could look like even this week. And then because you're sitting here, and it's so rare to pause like this and reflect on life and work and let things slow for a moment, I wonder if there's one person or team that you might consider celebrating by the end of the year, because maybe you're sitting here and like, oh man, now I think about it. She's celebrating her 10th year with us this year. Their 15th year, his 20th year. Oh my gosh, this is the 1 year. Oh my gosh, the team is going to be finishing that project in October, and we had not even thought about not racing past that, but celebrating that. That team's doing hard work. Maybe you're just far enough in front of something that's coming, and you can say to yourself, oh yeah, let's recognize, let's not miss that. What a gift. What a gift to name that. And I told you, I promised I would come back to the wedding story. And we'll end here. A couple weeks after the wedding, I get a thank you card, of all things, in the mail from the bride and the groom. And tucked into the thank you card is a photo somebody has taken at just the moment that I realized I didn't have the vows. A few seconds after that moment, we're all sort of like, oh my gosh. It captures the bride. It captures the groom. It captures me. And just a few seconds after the moment, do you know how the bride reacted? She laughed. Now, I remember that initial split second when she realized I didn't have the vows. But how quickly she within herself remembered the vow. That it's not about a perfect ceremony in a perfect place with the perfect words. And it is about the gift of family and friends gathered, her beloved groom, this unique space to celebrate alongside all these people. She remembered the vow that it's about the others. She came back to that so quickly. And because the leader remembered the vow and breathed laughter, remembered what and who really mattered so quickly, that transformed the atmosphere of that wedding. Why do you think that guy in the back row felt free to be himself, raise his hand, and say, is it time we took a time out? Because the leader breathed into the air differently. It freed everybody else to be more themselves, changed the atmosphere. I know you all are headed back into situations full of complex challenges, unknowns, oh my goshes. But I'm telling you, the game changer time and again in those spaces are leaders who are able to come back to the vows of self-leadership, who know who they are at their highest and best, who breathe differently into the atmosphere, who know the power of seeing and recognizing each person within them, and it changes the game. I hope this space has helped you breathe a little bit even now, and will continue to do so as you go forward from here. Thank you again for being with me. Same QR code if you're interested in that resource I mentioned. That QR code actually also has a link. I do a weekly newsletter on leadership and life, and if you'd like to receive that, those are story-driven reflections, a lot like today's presentation, and you are welcome to check out the details there as well. Thank you.